Disclaimer. Remember, the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the speakers and do not reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. Hello. We are back again.
Hey, Nikki.
Hello, Kimmy.
Yep, we are back. Good to be back. This is our second episode back.
Yes.
And the excitement continues. So I guess we'll get right into it, huh?
Yes, let's get right into it.
So
What are we going to talk about today?
so today we are going to talk about Cheyenne Bryant,
Ooh.
formerly known as Dr.
Doctor.
Cheyenne Bryant. So everybody's talking about Cheyenne Bryant. And hopefully someone has told her to be quiet. So, I don't know. We'll see if anybody tells her to be quiet if she listens. But sis has gotten herself into hot water.
Hot water.
And so Cheyenne Bryant, right? So as everyone may know, she is a social media sort of celebrity. I don't know. She was saying, I guess now she's saying she was a life coach, but before she was a therapist, a counselor, a
Dr.
Okay,
She was
saying all the things. And so what I didn't realize was I first saw her actually on Basketball Wives.
Oh,
yes, I totally like when she sort of came onto the scene a couple years ago, just talking to a variety of celebrity Black men, talking about relationships and things like that. Like she kind of came on the scene like that. And so that's when I thought I first met her, but it wasn't. I first saw her on Basketball Wives, and she came on as a friend of Jackie Christie on that show.
And was she giving advice? Was that what her?
Yeah, I mean, she was introduced as someone in that space, right? That therapy space, that she has a doctorate, that she, and on the episode, she was hosting a women's empowerment brunch.
Okay.
And of course, the women's empowerment brunch went left. And when I went back and looked at the scene, those little red flags were showing themselves then. So like, for example, she was introducing the keynote speaker of her women's empowerment brunch. And it so happened to be, it was a man who was, I guess, popular in local politics there, because this was based in LA, right? So I think he was popular in local politics there. And when she introduced him, she basically said that the man was funny looking. But it's okay. She was like, "Oh yeah, you look funny." She was saying the man was not attractive.
Okay, so demeaning his physical appearance, and this is about empowerment and
exactly.
Okay,
in the introduction of him to speak. So then she gets to this part of her presentation, and she wanted everyone, all of the women in the audience who has credit or got credit in their name to buy something or whatever, she wanted them all to stand up. And so some of the women that were attending, like the actual characters on the show, some of them were just like, I don't feel like standing up. I don't need to stand up.
Well, let's asking about your personal financial, I mean,
flag number 2.
Yeah.
And so she then proceeded. And so her whole point was, back in the day, you wouldn't have been able to get credit in your name as a woman, blah, 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 blah. And then she proceeded to call out people in particular for not standing. You should be standing up. You should be standing up.
Wow.
None of this is the behavior of someone who is a licensed.
Right.
So fast forward, right? She comes on the scene, and she's participating in these interviews, giving advice that was very unorthodox, or communicating them that advice in an unorthodox manner, or just the way that she talks, presents herself. It was very unorthodox. But people were still kind of like, including myself, I was like, oh, what does she have to say? And
She's
then
probably entertaining.
it was very entertaining.
Yeah.
But then I really can't remember how this part came out, but people started questioning whether or not she was licensed, right?
Interesting.
So
Okay.
that started
Okay.
first. So she had to admit that she wasn't licensed. And then she went on this tour of saying why she's not licensed, basically, so she doesn't have to comply with ethical standards and guardrails, so she can pretty much
Additional red flags. Okay.
deliver her therapy, her advice, her guidance in that unorthodox way that she enjoys. She
Okay.
wanted
Additional red
basically the freedom
flags.
to do that. Then, as that sort of gained more traction, then the question became, does she even have a degree at all?
Yeah.
And what was so funny is I saw a clip of her. She was on an interview, I think, with Shannon Sharp. And she basically was like, yeah, I've got 6 degrees. 3 of them are PhDs. Now, Nikki, please, I want to hear your thoughts about this. I want you to tell us how how difficult it is to get one PhD. And this woman is saying she's got 3 of them, plus like 3 master's degrees.
And I don't want to make it sound like you can't get multiple PhDs
Of
or multiple
course.
masters. I know people with multiple masters. I know people with multiple PhDs.
Mhm.
And I will tell you that the PhDs or the degrees, the additional degrees that they get, they spend time getting the degrees. There's a reason that they want the additional degrees because they are intellectually curious. They want to get a deeper body of information on a certain topic area, and get an additional discipline. And so just her being, it just sounds like she's being very flippant. I've got,
Yes.
goo gobs. I said I was going to throw it in today. I said I was
Yes.
going to throw that in today.
If
That
you
is a tribute to the Creole, to our
Yes.
Creole family. Yes. Yes.
Yes. For if there's anybody new listening, Nikki and I are cousins. Our families are from Louisiana, and our parents are famous for words that they use that maybe not many other people are aware of. And googobs is
Jobs.
one of those words
And it
that
means
her
a
mom.
whole lot. It means a lot. So we will
Googobs is a whole lot. But we digress. We digress. Okay.
And
So
you
Nikki,
know,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. And I was going to say that, and the other thing is that within getting the doctorate, anybody who's achieved an advanced degree knows how much money it could be because you're not working necessarily.
Right.
You're in your degree, you're working on your degree, and it really is. It isn't something that you absolutely 100% need to live, but it is something that you want because there's that knowledge base that you want, and you're really into that career, and you want to gain that additional information. And so it just seems like if she has so many degrees, the things that I've read about and heard about, like the ethical issues and the way that she has commented on certain things, I would just really, I question, the level of education that she says that she has, just because of the things that that I've heard of.
Exactly. And so the things that she says and how she speaks are, it flies in the face of probably therapy, counseling,
Best
one-on-one.
practices, yeah.
It just,
Evidence-based practice flies in the face of it.
yeah. So what I want to hear from you, and to kind of help our audience understand the gravity of the things that she's saying, if can you talk to us about, just how that process is? Because
The
one of the things,
licensing, right?
yeah, the importance of the licensing, but also, after people started questioning whether or not she had a degree altogether, she started talking about giving this sort of cockamamie story about how the school she went to closed and she couldn't get her transcripts, and just kind of shed some light
Right.
on from your own personal experience, your own knowledge on how that works. I've never even had to think about that because I've just never been really confronted with that. You're in the teaching space, so I know that you have that,
Yeah, and
experience.
if you were confronted with it, you'd say, okay, here's my transcript, here's my degree. You would absolutely know how to get that information out to people
Mm-hmm.
who needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the thing about being licensed, being licensed says that not only do you have a degree, but you have gone the extra step that shows accountability to the licensing board. So whatever licensing board, and there are different boards. You know, board of social work. You have depending on the discipline.
Mm-hmm.
There are counseling like LPCs, licensed um, professional counselors. There are social workers, licensed clinical social workers. Uh, there are psychologists that are PhD level that can also get licensed. So there are all these different licensing boards, and what they do, you have to go through additional steps. I know for social workers have to go through and they have to get a certain number of hours of clinical supervision to be a licensed clinical social worker. And then they have to take a test.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they get their license, they have to maintain their license by
Mm-hmm.
doing continuing education units.
Yeah.
And so anytime you see someone licensed, they have gone the extra mile to demonstrate accountability, to say that they understand the ethics of delivering services and that they will maintain those ethics. Because I will tell you, people um, bring up issues that occur with their you can bring issues that occur with your counselor, and those boards are very strict about investigating complaints.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so the fact that you've gone through the licensing process it shows a level of accountability that
Mm-hmm.
is really important, I think. And also the other question you asked about the transcript in the schools,
Yeah. Yeah.
even schools that close have to maintain documents and information on their pupils, their students, what they did, especially because so many schools get federal dollars. And so you can't just close and have all of your records just disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And there are schools that do close, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They do close. And
Including the school that she said that she went to.
that she said that she went to.
Right.
But there are provisions set in place that are legal provisions. You can't just provide education and a degree to a person and not have the documentation for them. I mean, I'm not even going to tell you how long ago I graduated. But I could go to my school. I can go where my undergraduates it is, because that was a
Mhm.
while ago, and they
Mhm.
will be able to tell you, yes, I attended, yes, I graduated, here's my GPA, here are the classes that I took. I mean, they still keep those records because that
Right.
is really important, because they know that there are legal obligations for
Yeah.
doing. And yeah,
But
absolutely.
I think too, and what's so crazy about this situation is when she, decided to get on Beyonce's internet and say that, her school closed and they only kept the transcripts for 2 years. And she just so happened to request the transcripts after that 2 year period of time. So they didn't have it anymore. And people were getting on Beyonce's internet and posting who went to the same school that closed, like in real time posting, oh, I just requested my transcripts
Yes.
and here they are.
Yes.
Like, such a blatant lie
Yeah.
that could be easily confirmed. And so, that leads me to believe that Miss Bryant may need her own care, because how can you just sort of make this up as you
Yeah.
go along to cover for what you have been telling the public?
And
Mhm.
it's probably better for her to just tell the truth, whatever that truth is,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
just say, okay, I don't have this, or just tell the truth, because right now people are really questioning her integrity.
Mhm.
And it's easier, like if she's doubling down and saying, I have it, and coming up with
Mhm.
all these excuses, and the excuses don't make sense, that just makes you look worse.
It
Just
does. And the whole point of it is the whole point of a degree, the whole point of a license is for the community to know that you are, in fact, who you say you
say
are.
you are.
And
Absolutely.
so her whole thing is, oh, I don't have to prove this. Ma'am, yes, you do actually.
Yes.
Yes, actually, you do. If you want people to listen to you, and if you want people to rely on on the guidance that you're giving to them,
Right.
we all have a right to ask if you have the knowledge necessary to give me advice that could affect my life. Like, this isn't just fantasy or
Exactly.
celebrity in a vacuum. Celebrities have real lives as well. Like, what you're saying to them could impact their lives in a very real way. And for example, since this story sort of really broke, um, um, I've been following it on my algorithm. It's all up and down my algorithm, and I saw one person post that they actually, went to her website, decided to schedule a session with her because she was holding herself out as counselor, therapist, whatever. And they scheduled a session, and and I can't remember if it was I want to say it might have been depression or something like that they were
Okay.
seeking guidance on. And they said that, they went to the appointment and she pretty much just talked about herself. Like, it was clear to this person that she didn't really know what she was doing.
Mm.
And so, and we, and I think the point here too, that I want to make sure is clear about licensing is because there are licensed professionals that are out here doing bad work. We're not saying that just because you have a license, but what the licensing does is it provides a means for someone who is relying on your expertise, and if they are hurt by your expertise, they have somewhere to go for
There's
return.
accountability. There's
Right.
accountability.
There
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
ethical standards. If you're licensed, you have to comply with certain ethical standards. And if you are not in compliance with them and someone is hurt from that, they have a means to be um, protected.
Right.
Okay.
And
So
and
that's what it's about.
this is like, there is a deeper issue here as well, and thinking about mental health in the Black community.
So we're getting deep, y'all. We're
Deep,
gonna take we're gonna
deep.
take the caricature of what Cheyenne has been doing, and we're gonna take it deep.
Take it
Go
deep.
ahead, Nikki.
So the
Mhm.
issue is that for someone to ask for help, it takes strength to ask for help. And so the person, like in the example that you shared, where the person said, okay, I'm experiencing something and I want to get help. Now this person has become vulnerable, has gone and asked for help. And this person even realizes that she's not getting what was advertised or what she was supposed to
Mhm.
get. And
Mhm.
so how does that make what happens to that person now? There's trust that could be eroded. Is this person even going to feel comfortable seeking help from someone else? You know?
Right.
And so when we talk about mental health, we know that in the Black community, when we think about people actually seeking help, and remaining in help, we know that Black folks tend to seek help at lower levels.
It's
Um,
very still it's still very taboo.
yeah, it's still a taboo. Getting mental health is still a very taboo topic. And
Mhm.
so when a person finally makes the decision that they want to get mental health, we want to
Mhm.
make sure that they're getting help from the right person,
Mhm.
um, that has the right credentials
Mhm.
and is able to deliver those services. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
it having a person out there that is erroneously marketing herself or even himself, right?
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
you're marketing yourself incorrectly,
Yeah.
then you are causing harm.
It's
You're
harm.
causing harm.
Yeah.
It's harm.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It's more than just a piece of paper because, the interviews that have come out where she is being questioned about it, she really sort of tries to flippantly um 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 sort of avoided in that, well, the only reason people get licensed is for insurance. Like, she's trying to really downplay the role that it has, and downplay the impact that she can cause through her unguided advice, because obviously the advice that she is giving and the way that she approaches it is very hurtful and can be very damaging. So, for example, I saw a clip going around with her. She was on a panel with another journalist named Toure, and I think they were talking about child discipline, and Toure was on a more progressive side, meaning it's more than just about spanking or corporal punishment of children, and that he was more for a sort of therapeutic approach to dealing with childhood behaviors and things like that. And she came across as very misogynistic. She was spouting she was spouting sort of toxic masculine
Like
language,
rhetoric.
yes, when she was referring to, so for example, she was calling Toure soft, just being very disrespectful and rude. And I don't know any professional therapist who works with children would be speaking in that way.
Yeah.
And that and because I'm sure if someone were to say to her, "Oh, you're being very aggressive," I'm sure she wouldn't like that. But
Exactly.
that's how she was communicating with this journalist, who is a man, and because he has a certain perspective, she defaulted to uneducated tropes.
Yes. And thinking about the whole soft. I mean,
Yeah.
that ties into that's very emasculating. And really, he was probably just talking about things that professionals would agree with, in terms of rethinking how people have historically disciplined children, and thinking about, okay, what are better ways than using physical violence? What are better ways to discipline children? And being called soft for that, I mean, I can't think of any professional that would do that. And the interesting thing that you mentioned about her saying that she didn't want a license because she wanted to just do what she wanted to do, and
basically.
Yeah. Anyone that sounds like someone who doesn't understand what a license is, because anyone who has a license is going to understand why they have the license, and is not going to disparage the license. And even though, like you said, there are some licensed people who are not good therapists or not good counselors, or not, there are some licensed people. However, licensing says it actually says this is the standard.
Right.
It actually says this is a standard. And if the person you're seeing doesn't reach the standard, isn't achieving the standard, then there's a problem, and you have the ability to complain about that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it's about. And I think this also calls into focus this sort of trend that I've been seeing, that we call anti-intellectualism.
Yeah.
And this idea that somehow being educated in and of itself is sort of this bad thing, almost. The whole anti-science movement, just in general, the anti-intellectualism. And I feel like what we're seeing with her definitely is a result of that, of this idea that, hey, we don't need to spend time getting a license, and we don't need to spend time actually getting our degree. We can just get up on we can just get up on this Beyonce's internet and just start talking about things, and calling ourselves a therapist, or calling ourselves giving legal advice, or giving relationship advice. And these people have no idea what they're talking about. They haven't studied human behavior. They haven't studied science. They haven't read any kind of research,
Yeah.
real peer reviewed research. They haven't either read it, participated in it. All of that has a
Yeah.
purpose. All of that has a purpose, and it contributes to your knowledge of being able to guide people and guide them in a way that actually is helpful to either their mental health status or whatever else you're trying to give advice on. I just think everybody can get a microphone, everybody can get a camera, and everybody
Mhm.
can get up on here and just say whatever, and they want people to believe them and
Exactly.
live by their word.
And they want to just say that everything that they say or everything that they espouse is the truth. And
Mm,
and the whole idea about anti-intellectualism, it's really interesting to me that as soon as women and people of color, as soon as these
oh yeah.
opportunities are open for us, and
Hmm.
people are going and taking advantage of it,
Yeah.
Black women, in fact,
Yeah.
lots of black, I mean, I'm seeing lots of Black women going and getting advanced degrees. As soon
Hmm.
as that happens, it's like, well, now this environment is not necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. The goalpost is moving. Yeah.
Goalpost is moved, but
Mhm.
it's not moved to, it's not moved forward.
Yeah.
It's moved backwards.
Backward. Yeah. Hmm.
And I don't, and Kimmy, and I think you believe this too. I don't believe that I am any better than anyone because I have a PhD.
Right.
Okay.
Same here.
I
Hmm.
think that everybody brings important everyone has the ability to contribute. But
Hmm.
what I will say is that I have gone, and for a certain discipline, I have gained advanced knowledge,
Knowledge. Exactly.
right?
Because you're focusing on it.
And I have had people who already have that advanced knowledge to rate me and judge me and
Hmm.
evaluate me and assess me to make
Hmm.
sure that I'm getting the right knowledge and that I'm able to articulate that.
Exactly.
And all of these people coming up, oh, I'm a relationship counselor. I can do this and I can do that. It's like, you know what, ma'am
Ruining
or
lives.
sir, you may be able to sit across the kitchen table and talk to your friends,
Hmm.
but that is not a therapeutic venture, because a therapist will tell you that is a conflict of interest anyway.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you don't have the knowledge. And if I'm not going to get like practicing with any, and first of all, I'm not a therapist. I am a macro social worker. So you want to talk
Hmm.
about research with me? We can talk about research. But
Hmm.
to go and like say that you are engaging with like kitchen table therapy with your
Hmm.
friends and all of these people, I
Hmm.
mean, there are so many ethical issues there. And if people
Hmm.
are real
Yes.
therapists, then they understand that and they understand why there are these rules.
Yeah. And I think that I like what you said about it doesn't make any of us better than anyone. I think it's just about the idea that hey, anyone could become a lawyer. Anyone could become a PhD, but you're not that until you actually put in the work, the research, and the experience, right? Even if we're comparing like an attorney who's been practicing for 30 years versus an attorney who's been practicing for one. They
Mhm.
have the experience in
Experience,
addition
yes.
to the discipline and the education that they receive. And so that all comes with that and that package. So it just so happens that yeah, I decided to focus on going to law school, learning about how to become a lawyer, what that means, how things work. But so I've spent the specific time learning that and
Yep.
then also experiencing that. And yeah, and could I go and do somebody's hair? No, I mean I do my own hair, right? But
And
I
it looks
can't
very
do.
cute, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I can't do I can't go out and hold myself out as being able to do other people's hair because
Right.
number one, I haven't been officially educated on how it works, and I don't have the experience with working with different kinds of heads and heads of hair,
Yeah.
right? And so it's everything, and people can offer their expertise and their knowledge in a certain area because they have decided to learn specifically about it and get experience specifically in that discipline.
Yes.
right? And that's what we're talking about here. I'm pretty sure she could go get her PhD if she actually did it.
If she wanted to, absolutely. Now, and she would have to work hard. That's the thing.
Right.
There's a lot of work. There's a lot of hard work. At our graduation, we had all our graduates out there, and the director of the program said, I want to acknowledge about the sleepless nights, the tears, the anxiety. There's a lot of work that goes into doing an advanced degree. And, it isn't easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very rewarding. I'm very glad that I did it. But there are reasons you can't just claim you have it when you don't have it.
And listen, it's a slap in the face for those of us who did actually put in the work to do it. Let's just be real. Like,
and there's some
you're not gonna just hold yourself out as being a licensed attorney if you haven't gone to law school and sat for that bar exam like I did. Like, I'm gonna feel a way about that because you're not just gonna get out here and say you did it when you didn't.
And there's some racial implications where there are some people out there that will say, okay, look, there's this Black woman and she lied and said she had this degree. Now, Nikki and Kimmy claim to have degrees. Maybe they're lying. Maybe it's
unfair, but that's what they do.
It's absolutely unfair. But there are people out there that will say that, or and so and I hate to say that, but that's the reality. It's the reality.
It is.
Unfortunately.
So people, listen. Make sure you check. Make sure you any professional you're working with, we proudly put our degrees on the wall because we worked really hard for them. So just be mindful of anyone who is holding themselves out as being a professional, giving you advice that could impact your life. Make sure that at a very minimum, they have the necessary credentials to be able to do that. And I think that's what she is. I know that's what she taught me because I got comfortable. I definitely got comfortable. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm not really question that, but it's not something that we think will happen or think that people will do. So definitely do that. Make sure you check your folks.
And you can also go to the licensing boards of your state.
Yes.
And they keep those lists. Like if I wanted to find out if a therapist was licensed or if a doctor or even a manicurist or a massage therapist, you go in and you just type in their name and they tell you, if they're licensed, they'll pop up and they'll give you their license number so that it's a way of making sure that the people who have gone through to get the license are acknowledged as having the license. They make it easy for you to find out whether people have licenses or not.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Nikki, I think that wraps us up for this fantastic episode of Getting Deep with a PhD and JD.
Absolutely.
Until next time, everyone take care of themselves.
Yes. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Always like and subscribe so that you're always aware when we're coming out with new episodes. And we'd like to know. We always love comments. So if you want to have some comments, please do that. Who knows? If you have show ideas, we might talk about ideas. We may come up with your idea. Yeah.
And we'll be out. You'll get new episodes every Friday. Just as a reminder, every Friday we'll drop a new episode.
Yes. So
until next week.
Bye.
Bye.
So we want to get deep with you. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe buttons. See you soon.